everyone and welcome back to a new video of ours. In this one, we will explain some basics about efficacy trials for plant protection products, commonly called pesticides. We will summarize here what they are, why, how, and when they are done. Mind you, be it for biopesticides or pesticides, the rules are pretty much the same. Now, one disclaimer. The content of this video was solely created by our Regulatory Affairs Manager Evelyn Gusken. On a side note, trust that we had AI respond to the questions and it was a disaster. This further proves that AI will not replace scientific regulatory affairs experts sometime soon. Anyways, let's get right into the meat of the subject. Firstly, what are efficacy trials for pesticides in agriculture? A very simple definition would be that efficacy trials are trials conducted according to defined guidelines to demonstrate the efficacy of a pesticide product under the intended conditions. There is one basic principle in the EU regulation governing the authorization of pesticide products, and that is, a pesticide product must be sufficiently effective to be authorized. If the efficacy does not reach the necessary minimum, the product will not be authorized. Before we dive into the technical details of how, where, and when the trials are done on which products, let's first look at why they are obligatory to do before placing a product on the market, and therefore let the growers use them to, for instance, produce crops for food for us and the farm animals we raise. Efficacy trials actually cover one other very important element, which is, for instance, phytotoxicity. Because a product might work well on a given plant, but on other plants of a different species, signs of toxicity might appear. These have to be identified. Next, let's look at how regulatory affairs for agricultural products are done, or at least should be done. Firstly, the objective must be to generate data for the biological dossier of a pesticide dossier that are sufficient in number and sufficient in efficacy. Secondly, the data must be generated in the appropriate zone. This, in turn, depends on the selected rapporteur member state. Depending on the regulatory zone, in case of outdoor applications, any study design needs to be in line with any relevant guidelines on the European and zonal level. Thirdly, the pest, disease, or weed pressure needs to be sufficiently important to have a meaningful efficacy trial. Then, the MED, minimum effective dose, needs to be determined. To do so, the efficacy study design will provide for a series of concentrations to be tested, including a negative and a positive control. There are other elements such as replication, which means that treatments are repeated several times to conclude on any variability and to increase the confidence in the subsequent statistical analysis. Later on, in the efficacy section and biological dossier, these efficacy trials will be analyzed and assessed in order to identify the MED for every proposed use and to understand at which dosage the best efficacy is recorded. The ultimate result of the evaluation of the efficacy trials is the GAP, the Good Agricultural Practice Table, or GAP, which lists all intended uses for a given pesticide product. This GAP table, in turn, will be the basis of any pesticide dossier. This is why efficacy is the first pillar in any pesticide dossier. So, to conclude this video with a summary, there are different sorts of efficacy trials. Regulatory efficacy trials for pesticide products are conducted to demonstrate the efficacy of a pesticide product and to lay the basis for the GAP table, which is the basis for any pesticide dossier. What are your thoughts on this video? Would you have anything to add? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to check out our regulatory guides that make agricultural regulatory affairs in Europe clear and simple. We also have several trainings programmed in March. Don't forget to check them out on our website. We thank you for watching and wish you a beautiful day, the sciBASICS team.